Not only does the health of your metabolism impact your overall health and energy levels, the health of your metabolism also determines whether your body wants to burn fat or store fat. Welcome to REV Your Metabolism with Alicia Murphy. I'm Alicia, your host, creator of Stress Monkey Fitness, the REV Method, and your go-to health coach for being super fit and feeling unstoppable after 40. Are you ready to join me on a journey to restore your metabolism, boost your health, and turn back the aging clock? On this podcast, we'll uncover the secrets to unlocking boundless energy, burning more fat naturally, and feeling confident in your own skin. Now hang on to your hats and glasses and get ready to learn simple yet powerful strategies that will transform your health and fitness game. Don't forget to hit that follow button so you don't miss any of our tips and tricks. All right, it's time to rev. Hey friend, woo-wee, here we go. I am so flippin' excited. First episode of the REV Your Metabolism with Alicia Murphy podcast. I'm beyond excited that you're here with me. I'm seriously over here jumping up and down because I have some really cool stuff to share with you today and in future episodes. You are going to love what you're going to learn on this podcast. This episode today will be of major value to you if you're someone who cannot seem to lose weight, even though you're exercising and eating right, or maybe you feel like you have low energy and you're sluggish all the time, or maybe you struggle with blood sugar issues, or how about this one? Maybe you just want to slow down that aging clock. If any or all of those things are of interest to you, then you are in the right place because this episode is for you. Now, one thing I want to mention before we get rolling here is that you're going to hear me talk a lot about the power of walking and the influence walking has on the hormones that govern your metabolism. So my hope is that when you're tuning in to the REV Your Metabolism podcast, you're laced up, you're getting those steps in, and bonus points if you're in a nature setting. All right, giddy up. Let's go with this episode. Today, we're talking about your metabolism, how to know if your metabolism is the problem that's affecting your weight, your health, your energy. And before we go any further, I want to let you know that I've created something very cool for you. It is the Is Your Metabolism Out of Sync quiz. That's right, friend. How cool is that? You can go and grab it right now, or when you're done with this episode, whichever you prefer. Go to stressmonkey.com/quiz and make sure you spell monkey with EE rather than EY. So that's stress, STRESS, monkey, MONKEE.com/quiz. It's a quick quiz, and in the results, I'll give you the first few steps to focus on if indeed your metabolism is out of sync. All right, so again, grab your copy, stressmonkey.com/quiz, and that's monkey spelled EE instead of EY. All right, let's get going. In today's episode, we're talking, what exactly do we mean when we say metabolism? And this might be different than what you think it means. Then we're going to talk about what are some of the signs that your metabolism is out of sync. We're going to talk about what are some of the causes that might cause your metabolism to go out of sync. We're going to talk about, are you just totally screwed by genetics if you come from a family tree of slow metabolisms? And this is a big one. If your goal is weight loss, why the health of your metabolism is everything. Okay, so let's start with this. What is the metabolism? And I want to go over this because I think many people think of the metabolism as it's just something that determines whether you lose weight or gain weight. But holy guacamole, it's way bigger than that. Metabolism refers to the countless chemical processes going on inside the body that allow life and normal functioning, such as breathing, circulating blood, controlling your body temperature, contracting muscles, digesting food and nutrients, eliminating metabolic waste, the functioning of the brain and the nerves. In other words, your metabolism is like a big effing deal. So, yeah, you want to have your mind blown? Go Google metabolic pathway. Wow. The point I'm trying to make here and drive home is that your metabolism is the big kahuna when it comes to not only weight loss, but the way you feel and your overall health. It really deserves your attention. Now, you can see the metabolism is a great big old topic with lots of layers, and it's so important to learn about it. And so we've got loads to talk about in future episodes. Let me just tell you what. And by the way, did you know only 12% of Americans are considered to be metabolically healthy? Yeah. We'll definitely dig in more on that in a future episode. And this is another thing, your metabolic health is linked to things like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, neurological disease and disorders like Alzheimer. And it's also linked to whether your body prefers to burn fat or to store fat. So, yeah, this is important, right? Okay, so what determines your metabolic rate? Well, age, gender, muscle to fat ratio, amount of physical activity, and hormone function. And don't you worry, I got you covered, sweet potato, because you're going to learn all about all of this stuff on this podcast, okay? So what are some signs that your metabolism is out of sync? Again, I made you that quiz, and the cool thing about the quiz is if your results show you that, yep, my metabolism is out of whack, out of sync, I give you the first few things to focus on, first steps to start to restore your metabolism. Alrighty, so what are some signs that your metabolism's out of sync? All right, and again, that quiz is at stressmonkey.com/quiz. All right, well, the body gives you clues. You just got to learn how to listen. So let's just go over briefly some of the signs that your metabolism is out of sync. All right, sleep. Now, if you're someone who has struggled with sleep your entire life, this is going to be, a difficult cue for you to listen to. However, if you're someone who notices recently sleep disruptions, or if you're sleepy and feeling tired and sluggish during the day at any point, even though you had enough sleep, so like if there's no reason for you to be dragging ass, but you feel really tired, that's a sign, okay? Hunger, right? So, and this can go either way. If you are hungry or if you get hangry, like the Snickers commercial, I know that's really funny, but if you know, you know. Hangry is the real deal, right? So if you're somebody who takes hangry to a whole new level, that can be a sign that your metabolism is out of sync. But also, if you just ate and all of a sudden you're hungry again and you're thinking, why am I already hungry? that's a sign. But take it to the other end of the spectrum. If you're somebody who's like, I just really don't get hungry, that is a total sign of a sluggish metabolism. All right. So one extreme to the other can be a sign that your metabolism is indeed out of sync. Okay. Mood, your mood. If you tend to be, really happy and then you're like, grouchy, or again, this can tie into the whole hangry thing, right? If you get hungry and you feel like you could literally like rip someone's face off at that moment because you're so hungry and you're feeling shaky and anxious and on edge, okay, that is a sign, friend. That's a sign that your metabolism can be out of sync. Next one, energy. This is a big one. If you feel just, so sluggish, and again, you've gotten enough sleep, you haven't really done anything to make you feel sluggish, and especially in the mid-afternoon, this is such a huge red flag that your metabolism is out of sync, right? So that 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30 time rolls around and you hit the wall and you're like, I need a cup of coffee. I need a nap. I feel like I can barely keep my eyes open and you're yawning. That is a sign that your metabolism is out of sync. All right. And then the last one I want to cover here is cravings. So when you are craving sugary foods. And again, this goes into play at that 3 o'clock point in the middle of the day, right? And you're sitting at your desk and you're like, I just really want something sweet. Or maybe you want something salty, starchy, right? You're having these cravings, even though you're not really hungry. Or at night, you're having these cravings. That is a sign that your metabolism is out of sync. And in future episodes, I'm going to talk more in depth about why these things are happening, the hormones they're linked to with your metabolism. You're going to learn all about it. But what causes the metabolism to get out of sync in the first place? That's what I want to talk about next. Just touching on this because this is such a big topic. And I'm going to dedicate a whole entire future episode just to this. Why does your metabolism get out of sync in the first place? So right now, again, I'm going to go deeper into this later in a future episode, but for right now, I want to just give you 3 major reasons that we might see our metabolism going out of sync in the first place. Okay. Here we go. Number 1, as we age, did I have 3 reasons? Oh, mercy. We have 4 reasons. 4 reasons that your metabolism can get out of sync in the first place. I know. It's my first episode. Cut me some slack here. All right. So as we age, this is a big one. We get more sensitive to stress and the stress hormones like cortisol. So too much stress in whatever form can negatively impact the metabolism. And the reason I say in whatever form is because oftentimes people think, stress means like mental stress, right? Emotional stress. Stress means anything your body perceives as a stressor. That could be not getting enough sleep. That could be a food intolerance. That could be a chronic ache and pain that you have. So I just want to make sure that we understand that stress means that it's anything your body perceives as a stressor can put you in a state of fight or flight. And as we get older, our body becomes more sensitive to that. And the stress hormone cortisol loves to trigger belly fat storage. So if you're seeing yourself gaining more belly fat around, your midsection, obviously, that very likely can be cortisol driven. So, and again, we'll talk more about that in future episodes, but just something to start to think about. Start to pay attention to stress and take it seriously, right? That's what Stress Monkey is all about. All right. Second thing I want to touch on is blood sugar imbalance. And this is a big one. And again, I'm going to dedicate a whole future episode to this, but for now, let's talk about this. When your blood sugar is out of whack on a regular basis, this causes all sorts of problems to your metabolism. It will make you feel tired, so you don't want to move. And imbalanced blood sugar will cause cravings and hunger, like we talked about a little while ago. So you're gonna be like, ooh, I want some sneaky snacks, right? And that's gonna make you want to eat more. In fact, the research shows that blood sugar issues is one of the biggest impacts on why we start to see a sluggish metabolism starting to happen around the age of 35 or 40. So it's not that because we're aging, our metabolism is starting to slow down. It's most likely because the blood sugar is starting to be imbalanced, right? And that is what is impacting the metabolism. And that ties back into the whole stress thing, because guess what? Stress also affects, that's right, your blood sugar. So this is actually good news because you have control over this. So you can positively impact your metabolism by focusing on balanced blood sugar, and you can help to restore the metabolic function and the hormones that oversee your metabolism. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah, and don't worry, again, I'm going to teach you how to do all this, my sweet little petunia, so you got to stick around. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is something called insulin resistance. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's all good, it's all cool, don't worry about it. Again, you guessed it, we'll have a future episode dedicated to this. But for now, this is what you need to know. Insulin resistance is linked to blood sugar issues. Do you see how all these things are connected? So, oversimplifying this, basically, insulin, which is sometimes referred to as the fat storage hormone, and it's basically what happens when you've got what is called insulin resistance. Okay, so when you eat something, let's say, or when your body requires this hormone insulin, again, sometimes referred to as the fat storage hormone, and let me explain why. So when your blood sugar goes up, insulin is the hormone that is released to bring your blood sugar back down. Well, over time, if you are insulin resistant, the body requires more and more and more and more of this hormone in order to effectively get your blood sugar down. Remember what I said, this is sometimes called the fat storage hormone. So you don't want an overwhelming amount of this hormone floating around in your body. As a matter of fact, when your insulin levels are elevated, until those levels come back down to a normal level, to a balanced level, which can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on what you ate, you cannot burn any fat. So when insulin levels are elevated, you cannot tap into fat as fuel. So think about what this means. If you're insulin resistant and your body needs more and more and more insulin in order to get your blood sugar down after you've eaten something, it's going to take longer because there's more insulin, right? It's going to take longer to get back down to that balance, which means for a very long time, you are not going to be able to tap into fat as fuel. Instead, you'll just store fat, all right? Big one, right? So in other words, blood sugar and insulin resistance, with those two things, if you have blood sugar imbalance and insulin resistance, your metabolism basically will forget how to burn fat efficiently, and it will prefer to store fat. Did you just hear what I said? If you're doing something else, listen to what I just said. If your blood sugar is imbalanced and you have insulin resistance, your metabolism forgets how to burn fat efficiently and prefers to store fat. So I'm hoping that I'm making a great case for you to understand why it's so important for you to not only understand how your metabolism works, but start to focus on restoring your metabolism, making it more effective. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about on why your on why your metabolism gets out of sync in the first place is a lack of lean muscle. So when we turn 30 years old, I mean, it's crazy. Just at 30 years old, we literally start losing a percentage of muscle mass every year, unless you are intentionally doing something to either maintain the lean muscle mass you have or to build new lean muscle. And I know I keep saying this, but this is going to be a future episode. But for now, what you need to understand is lean muscle not only is intrinsically linked to the hormones that govern your metabolism, but it's also one of the keys to longevity. And not only living a lot of years, but living a good quality amount of years. That's important. So if over the years you haven't really been focusing on doing things to build lean muscle, now is the time. And listen, I want to mention Stress Monkey. If you go check that out on Instagram, that is geared towards fitness for people over 40, short workouts, effective at building lean muscle. Go check it out. And again, spelled with 2 E's instead of EY. But I'm begging you to start to prioritize strength training, building lean muscle over cardio. All right? You will thank me. I will literally be your BFF. And yeah, go do it. Just go do it. All right. So I want to now dig in on genetics because I hear this a lot, right? I just have a slow metabolism. It's my genetics. What if you come from a family of hokey pokey metabolisms? And by hokey pokey, I mean sluggish. Are you just totally screwed? Well, according to the research on PubMed, around 35% of the metabolism can be linked to genetics. That leaves 65% of your metabolism within your control. So you have a good amount of opportunity to impact your metabolism. I mean, that's flippin' awesome, right? So that's good news. So yes, your genes and your genetics, of course, they play a role in your metabolism and the efficiency of your metabolism. However, there's a whole lot you can do to improve your metabolic function, right? Aren't you glad you're listening to this episode? I'm glad you're here, but I hope you're getting a lot out of this so far. Okay. Now, I know I got to talk about this because, oh boy, is this a hot topic. I know this may seem obvious at first, but you got to bear with me because it's one of those things I tend to get a ton of backlash from. When I post about this on social media, I get so many hater comments, but we got to talk about it. And if you get pissy with me when I say what I'm about to say, please hear me out, okay? And then hopefully you'll be like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. When you're over 40 and your goal is weight loss, okay? This whole calories in versus calories out does not always work. In fact, oftentimes it doesn't work, especially if you're perimenopausal or menopausal. Listen, I wish calories in versus calories out worked. It would be so much easier. Like if all you had to do was say, I ate 500 calories, let me subtract, and then I burned 300 calories, let me add that in. But guess what? Your metabolism does not work like that. Your metabolism is not a calculator where you simply add and subtract. There are so many variables that go in to your metabolism and the number of calories burned and the number of calories stored. I mean, I guess, that's going to be an episode because you need to know about this. Let me say this. This is funny because I'm going to go off on a little side tangent here, but you're going to crack up. So I recently got a comment on an Instagram post where I was talking about how doing too much cardio for women over 40 can actually hinder losing fat from the belly area. And it all ties back to what we talked about because cardio tends to raise the stress hormone cortisol, right? Remember I said as we age, we get very sensitive to cortisol. And cortisol is the driver of what? Belly fat. Anyways, I post saying, women over 40, too much cardio is not going to help you lose that belly fat. And then this guy, Hi Hunter, leaves a comment saying, that has nothing to do with it. It's all about calories in versus calories out, eating less and exercising more. Okay, listen, if you're a guy and B, a guy that's like in his 20s or 30s, don't make comments like you know anything about being a woman over 40 struggling with belly fat. Just get out of here. Okay. My point is that every time I talk about this, and it's generally people that are younger that haven't had to deal with this yet, they say, all you gotta do is count calories and exercise more. But listen, if you're listening to this, you're over 40 and you've been frustrated because you're like, I am counting my flipping calories. I am on the elliptical. I'm burning 600 calories every time I work out and I'm not seeing results. It is not your fault. It is not your fault, okay? You need to focus on restoring and revving your metabolism, okay? So what is the priority when you want to lose weight over 40? And more specifically, losing fat over 40, right? Because let's be specific. It's not that you want to lose weight, because the last thing you want is to lose muscle. You want to lose fat. So let's start to think like that. Fat loss, not weight loss, okay? Very different, very, very different. So what do you want to focus on if you want to lose fat over 40? The health of your, go ahead and yell it out so I can hear you. Yep. You're so smart. The health of your metabolism. Because if your metabolism and the hormones linked to your metabolism are all wonka-do, then the whole calories in versus calories out, unfortunately, probably isn't going to work. All right, so step one is restore your metabolism and focus on your metabolic health. And listen, it's not that calories don't matter at all. It's just that focusing on calories isn't super helpful when your metabolism has endured years of dieting, over-exercising, high stress, right? Because life happens, as you know. So the metabolism is where we got to start. Your body and your metabolism will be so stoked to get some love from you in the form of blood sugar balance, adequate protein, enough fiber, healthy fat, movement, lean muscle, quality sleep, and stress balance. Notice I didn't say less stress. Stress balance. More on that in a future episode. Do you see how much I have to share with you? I hope you're so excited for this podcast because I love to teach this stuff. Okay, if you start to give your metabolism some love, you will see the benefits, okay? Pinky promise. All right, listen, I mean, I hope you got a lot out of this podcast. I'm loving this. And, if you ever have things you want to hear about or you have feedback, you can reach me, Alicia, at stressmonkey.com. And I hope by now you know that's spelled E-E instead of E-Y. I'm doing this for you because I love you. I care about you. You deserve to feel amazing. So you let me know what you want to hear about. Be sure to tune in every week. Thanks so much for listening to the Rev Your Metabolism podcast with Alicia Murphy. I did it. Episode 1, man. I'm so happy. Be sure to go grab that quiz at stressmonkey.com/quiz. And, I'd love to hear from you on Instagram. You can find me at stressmonkey, 2 E's at the end. Okay, listen, I'm going to talk to you next week. And until then, rev it up. Bye for now.